So, yeah, this week is all about mindset, which is honestly my absolute favourite topic. And I actually would say if there was one thing you really have to give your time to in this business, it is your mindset. Yes, of course, you have to do income producing activities on social media, 100%. But if you don't work on your mindset, at some point you will quit. And that is just the bottom line, because I do see people, in this business who they get so far and then they get what people don't like to say the word stuck. I don't have an issue with it. They get stuck and they lose all belief in themselves because they haven't worked on their mindset. Or, you see people where they do work on their mindset, they get to a set point, often like leaders, because then they have other responsibilities, they don't have much time for mindset, they totally forget because they've kind of got to that point where they do believe in themselves, and then their business starts to drop, and then it's one day they quit. And I used to be like, why have they done that? Like, they were like an NMD, they were PMD, why have they quit? It made no sense to me. And I very quickly realised, yeah, they just stopped making their mindset a priority. And it's crazy, but it's crazy how it's like working any muscle, isn't it? If you go to the gym every day and you feel amazing and you have a day off here and there, if you suddenly have a day off, it's harder to go back. Or if you then have a week off, it's harder to go back. This is the same thing. If you don't work on your mindset every day, you are going to find it harder to be resilient and to kind of be, I would say, just be strong and be powerful. And it does not have to take you ages. So I would say in the morning, I spend like 50 minutes to an hour before I do anything else, okay? And I would highly recommend you to do this, because in our business, we are going to come across negativity all the time, I think a lot of people sometimes, when they start the business, they think like, oh, do you just not get negativity because you never seem to get down about it? And I'm like, no, I do a lot of the time. I get crazy messages, but it's just like water off a duck's back. It just does not bother me because I've built up like a resilient mindset. Whereas when I first started, I remember those messages and I'd be like, oh my God. And they'd make me feel awful. And I'd be like, this is like, I can't do this. And then I was like, no, come on. Because it came back to me being like, why am I doing this? To change my life. But I knew very quickly that I had to be strong in my mindset to be able to be successful at this. So I'm going to go through what I do for mindset stuff, and these are tasks that I want us to do for the next week. And like I said, I will send some information separately for you to have a little look at. So first of all, I personally think like the way you start your day is the way the rest of your day goes. So in an ideal world for me, I like to wake up before the kids and spend that 50 minutes to an hour on myself. Let's keep it real over here. Sometimes that don't happen. This morning, the kids are in bed with me. They were up at like up at 4:45 awake, and I was like, oh my God. And I thought, I am absolutely not going to be able to get up at 5 and leave them because they just won't let me. So I used to get frustrated with myself at this situation, which then affected my mindset, put me in a bad mood for the start of the day, and basically just ruined my whole plan of doing mindset stuff. So now I very much accept that, if you have kids, you cannot really plan your day. You can't really do that. However, I do plan, and I do think, right, my mindset is like for me every day, it's like having to eat a meal. Like I have to do it or it's going to affect my health. And that's the way to look at it, because a lot of people say things like, I haven't got time to work on my mindset. And I think, well, you do, because we all have the same amount of time. So really, by saying that, what you're actually saying is it's not a priority for you. And I think a lot of people, this is where I was at for so long with this business. I used to wake up really early and I would just like do my messaging and do my work, and I didn't work on myself because I haven't got time. I've got a child, I work, run a business, I ain't got time to work on myself. I haven't got time for that. And I totally missed the whole point of waking up early for 2 years. Totally missed it. And I just didn't have that time to work on myself. So for example, if you can wake up half an hour earlier than the kids or before you got to go to work, if you can do, I would recommend doing that. For me, if it's a day, like for example, today, this morning, like I said, I couldn't get up before the kids because they were up with me. So I got up, put them in front of the TV, and then I was like, do not disturb me. I'm doing this, And I went in the kitchen, did what I had to do. Tomorrow I'm working and I have to be, the kids have to be up at like 6:30 latest, and then we're like go, and we leave the house at 7:20. So I know that I've got to be up at the latest 5:30 to be able to like work on myself and then get the kids ready before we've got to get ready to go. So that means for me tomorrow at 5:30, that alarm is going off, whatever. And if it means we're all getting up together at 5:30, we're all getting up together and they're going to go and watch the TV. And some people might be like, oh, you shouldn't do that. I'm like, well, no, I should, because I have to fill my cup up to pour into my kids. And if I don't do that, I'm going to be annoyed at them because they've stopped me doing my mindset stuff. So that's how I go about it. So first thing, I want to wake up, I will write down, first of all, like my affirmations. So these are things that I want. These can be for you personally. So it could be, that you want to be going to the gym every day, or you want to work out every day. I would write like, I work out every day. It could be like, my classic one, I am a calm mummy who does not lose control. I write that every day and I'm like, come on, Elle, this is what you're like. Or I write down like, I am a national marketing director, because that's the position I'm going for in my business, write down whatever your goals are, write them down. Because when you write them down, it just brings them to life a bit more. It kind of makes you accountable. You're like, okay, I'm actually putting these out on paper to the universe. I've got to sort this out. I've now got to make them come true. And it's amazing how powerful it is when you do write them down. Some people like to write them like all over the page, like 10 times or whatever. I just do it once, so whatever works for you. So first of all, writing out your affirmations. Some people like to do this, and I haven't done this for ages. Maybe I'll start doing it again. I used to do it in the car, and Cece was like, Mummy, what are you doing? Is I would say my affirmations to myself in the mirror. Some people hate that. They can't do it. So have a go. You might love it, or you might be like, I can't do this. But it is really powerful. Or like, I remember, and again, I haven't done this for ages. This is good for me, this call, because I forgot about doing this. When lockdown first started, me and Adrian used to go running with the kids in the running pram, and it was when basically I'd stopped getting paid from school. So I was like, right, this business is like, I have to make it work, and we couldn't really afford our mortgage or that kind of thing, and I was like, oh my god, I've got to make it work. And I used to run around with the pram and I used to go, thank you universe for all the sales and TVs coming my way today. And Adrian would be like, what are you doing? Like, stop it, stop shouting. And I was like, no, like, I'm putting stuff out to the universe, I'm telling them what I want. And I would say like, I've got a really successful business, I can afford our mortgage every month, it's not a stress, I don't need to go out to work. I would say all this stuff out loud, and Adrian would just be like, oh my god, like, what is wrong with you? But it does really make it more real. It puts it out to the universe. So affirmations is a big one. Okay, next thing that I like to do is write down my journaling. So this journaling will be different for everybody. So for me, journaling literally means I write down, a journal whatever is in my head. So this is really good if you are somebody where you get overwhelmed easily, you are very busy, you have got loads going on. This will be great for you, because and it's good to do in the morning, because it's like doing a brain dump. So you just get all of that out of your head. So this morning I was writing down, how frustrated I was at the kids, all that kind of thing, because that's how I was feeling. And I knew if I keep this in my head, I'm going to go into this day in a really bad frame of mind, if you've fallen out with someone at work, you can write it down, no one's going to see it unless you want them to, just get it all on paper. Or it could be I often journal, things I want to come true within my life from the business, and I'll write that down, and I'll write down I can see myself in, on this homestead farm we have, and all this stuff, I've retired Adrian from his job, and I write it down because it kind of brings it to life. So journaling, just getting your stuff, your thoughts out on paper, and it's so important. I think it's probably one of the best things that I've done since starting this whole mindset stuff. I'm just going to check the chat, so I can find a routine that works. In fact, I'm going to do the chat at the end, so I'm just going to whiz through, but any questions or comments, keep popping them in the chat. Why is my phone not coming down? And I will, there we go, and I'll do them at the end. Okay, next one is I write down my gratitude. You can actually get gratitude journals at the minute. They have them in Home Bargains, or just go onto the internet. And basically, gratitude is just writing down what you're grateful for. And again, this for me is something that I actually think held me back for a long time, because I was so excited by this business. I was so excited to, hit positions and start earning this income, and to start leveling up my life, that I totally forgot to be grateful for the fact that I had a house, we got a mortgage, I had a beautiful little girl, I had an amazing partner, I had a job. I forgot to be grateful for all of that, because I was so determined and so set on my goals. I just forgot about gratitude, and it is really important, because I do believe if you're not grateful for where you are at, what you have, you won't be able to have any more. That's how it works. And it starts by just thinking about, just spending a few minutes in the morning and just write, and I will literally write down I am grateful for, and it could be your kids, it could be your home, it could be, you know, the fact that you found this opportunity. It could even be the fact that not today, but the sun is shining. Something like really simple, you know, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. There's no right or wrong with this. It's just what actually, you know, things that make you feel good. Like what makes you feel good, you know, in your day-to-day life, and just write it down. And I would say try and get a minimum of 10 down, you know, 10 things. And I also, before I go to bed, I will also like go through my head, and again, Hadrian thinks I'm crackers. I'll be like, this is what I'm grateful, and I'll go through things I'm grateful for. I don't tend to say them out loud, but I'll just say it in my head, because I just like to go to sleep thinking that, because I'm going to wake up in a better frame of mind. So gratitude is so important. Okay. The next one is, so when I've done that, I will then read. So I don't know whether any of you guys are currently reading books at the minute. And sometimes, and I used to say this, people will say, I don't read books, but I do audiobooks or podcasts. And I'm like, we could do both. So I used to say this all the time. I'd be like, no, I ain't got time to read books. However, again, have you got time? Or is it not a priority? And now it will be part of my routine, and I will sit down, and even if, and I've done this a few times, I'll get to work and I'll just sit in the car park and read for 10 minutes. And Hadrian goes, what are you doing? Like, you could be inside doing your emails. And I'm like, no, honey, gotta fill my cup up. I ain't got time for emails. So I will make sure I read every morning. So there's loads of good books. I've written a few down. So Ross and Danny's books are actually amazing. Ross's one is more of like a how to build your business, but amazing, and would definitely recommend reading it. Danny's will just inspire you. Her book will inspire you to be like, oh my god, this is what's possible with this business. There's other ones called The Universe Has Your Back is one of my favorites. I'm currently reading You Are a Badass, which I love. The Magic, The Miracle Morning, they're all about like how to start your day, gratitude. Rich Dad Poor Dad is an amazing book, and actually really funny. I first read that like 2 years ago and I didn't really get it, and I was like, this is a hard read, and found it a right slog. And then I listened to it on like an audio book, and I was like, oh, I don't remember reading this book before. It seemed really different. And I reread it, and I totally got what it meant, and it just kind of like talked to me in a different way. So you might find that you will read books more than once, and you will pick up other stuff from them. And if you're not someone who likes to read, which I always was, but then when I had kids I was like, oh, I ain't got time, like it might feel like a bit of a chore, but think like you've got that time just for you. And I always think you can learn so much from reading books. Like, you're gonna feel better afterwards because you're gonna have learned something new. So really find time to sit down, even if it's, and I would say you're gonna do 5 pages, nothing crazy, 5 pages every day, and you'll get through books. Like, I can't believe how quickly I get through them. And Adrian goes, when do you have time to read? Like, how do you get into these books? I'm like, I just literally do 10 minutes in the morning, that's it. But I do it every day, and they build up. So really try and get a book. And like I said, afterwards, you want to message me for any other recommendations, I can go through them. Audiobooks. So I used to replace reading a book with listening to an audiobook, which, like I said, you can do both, because the thing with audiobooks, you can have them on the go. So when I drive to work in the morning, so it's normally like, by the time I've got in the car, it's normally like 40 minutes by the time I've dropped both kids off. For those whole 40 minutes, I do not have the radio on. I will have audiobooks on all the time. More podcasts these days. So I will listen to, if you haven't listened to her, she's a little bit crazy. Like, I love her. Some people find her a bit intense, but Jessie Lee, the Boss Lee podcast, she's basically like the best person in network marketing. She's insane. She is very, very good, and she'll make you feel like really like, I can do this. The Mindset Mentor is one which is solely on mindset, which is a really good one. And these are all free, like on Apple Podcast. I think they're on Spotify, but I tend to use Apple Podcast. Boss Mama Podcast is, so Shannon McCartney, who's actually in the business, she's a sideline to me. She has done a podcast, and there's actually a few training calls where I think I've spoken on a couple on there. But it's very good for network marketing, so I'd have a listen to that one. Ross has his podcast. That is amazing, like some really good tips on how to build your business. Fraser Brooks has one, the Network Marketing Ninja. That's amazing. There's so many, honestly, so many. And the thing is, all these people upload, I would say they upload a minimum of 1 a week. Like, most do more than that. So you never run out of content. Like, there's always so much stuff. And, you know, these ones I scroll right back through, and I listen to them like from months ago, and I'm like, oh my God, like, this is amazing. And so if I'm in the car, I'll listen. or if I am earlier, I was cleaning the fridge, very glamorous life I lead, and I had a podcast on, or, you know, if I'm, what else would I do? If I'm like doing the housework or anything, or if I'm sat doing work on my phone, like, you know, if the kids are ever asleep and I get half an hour, I'll make sure, yeah, I'm doing work, but I'll pop a podcast on as well, because you can obviously minimize your screen and do the work as well, which is great, whereas obviously on YouTube you can't do that. So really, really useful. But audiobooks, podcasts, I just think they're so good to be able to get, like, in your pockets of time of your day, extra mindset stuff in. Okay, and I would say as well, really writing down like who you want to be as a person. I'm going to send some more information on this later, so don't worry if I'm rushing through, I'm just conscious of time. So thinking about like, what kind of person do you want to be, you know? What kind of business do you want to have? And think about, and what I used to do when I was kind of early on in this business, I would think about the people in this industry, a lot of them in Juice Plus, who I was like, oh, like they're amazing, I would love to be like them. And I would write down like what it was I actually liked about them, like what do I like about this person, you know? Like for one, it might be the fact they just show up every day, or they are just happy all the time, like, and they probably have stuff going on, but they don't show the negativity, you know? Or it would be things like they just inspire me in terms of like, they always give me, like on their live videos, they always talk to me in a way that I feel like they're talking at me and they're giving me value, things like that. And write down those things, because at some point, whether you believe it or not, people are going to say that about you, you know? If you really give it this business your all and you work on yourself and you stick with it and you do not quit, at some point you'll be the person where people are like, do you know what? Like, this is my idol, because they inspire me, because they've done this business for well, let's say you're 5 years in, 5 years, and they've gone on such a journey. And it really will get to that point. And I think as well, like, maybe sit down and write down how far you've already come, because I don't think we do this enough, you know? Like, it's great to focus on where you want to be going, particularly with your mindset, like what kind of person do you want to be? But I can guarantee most of us at the start of our journeys in this business, we were probably at a point where someone said something to us and we were like, oh my God, I can't believe they just said that. Or maybe you wanted to quit, or maybe something went on in your personal life and you were like, I just don't know if I can do this business now. And, you know, maybe you had a break from it, or whatever. But you're here on this call, which tells me you want to do this business. And remember that you haven't given up, you know, you've kept going, where so many people have quit, and be really proud of yourselves for that. Because I do think like this business does take a lot of courage, you know, like I always say, it's not hard, anyone can do it. But the reality is most people don't. And it always makes me laugh when you have people who, you know, and particularly on that free sign up weekend we had, I'm very pleased we did that, because it was very eye-opening for me to see these people who made out that money was the reason they couldn't join, when actually I was like, you just don't want it enough, like you're just not really that bothered. And it's funny because too many people say they want to have all this stuff, but they're just not prepared to do anything about it. Like, they're not prepared to work on themselves in any way, shape or form. And that blows my mind. I think it's crazy. Like, I just think you got to be like a sponge with this, you know? Like, if someone says, oh, you know, we'll get on a training call, like the one later, Emma Leyland's going to do it. She's amazing. She's a PMD in the business. And make notes with her and like listen to what she says. And I can guarantee she will have worked on her mindset, you know, to get to that point. And you'll probably find as well that for a long time, when you work on your mindset, right, you'll probably feel like you're not really getting anywhere for a long time, because that's how I felt. For a long time, I was like, oh my God. And Adrian would go to me, doing all this mindset stuff, Al, but we're still trying to hit SP points. And I was like, it's coming, don't worry. And you just have to like kind of, don't care. Who cares how long it takes you? Like, you've got your entire life, you know? Who cares if it takes you 3 years to get to NMD in this business? In the grand scheme of things, it ain't that long, you know? But I'm not saying it's going to take 3 years. But that's what I mean. Don't focus so much on, you know, where you want to get to in the time frame. Just focus on like, right, what kind of person, if do you want to be, or do you need to be to get to your next position, you know? And look at the areas and be really honest with yourself, because mindset, you have to be so honest. Like, when you're doing your journaling and stuff, don't write down you're feeling amazing if you're feeling like rubbish, you know? Be really honest with yourself. No one else is going to see this stuff. No one else. You can be so honest, and be honest with yourself, you know? Like, are you how much mindset stuff are you doing? Like, if you're doing none, then that's okay. But that's probably why you're feeling a little bit stuck, or a little bit like, oh, I need to pick it back up. And remember, we always say it does take, we say 90 days to kind of make like a habit who you are. And that's why we do these 90-day game plans. So I'm very much kind of starting, I'm hoping we're all going to be starting together. I didn't really go over the 90-day game plan in too much detail because I wanted to focus on these 4 weeks. But 90 days where you basically give it your all in this business, okay? Because that's how long, 90 days is a good period of time where it's kind of become the habit. And after those 90 days, you'll just do it without realizing, you know? And you're never going to have like, you know, a whole lifetime of 100% every day, but you will know then your things you have to do. And for example, mindset will become something you just do. And honestly, if I'm having a day where like I'm really busy or can't do much stuff, or like today for example, I've been blocked on like every platform, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook for messaging. Literally can't message a soul. It's driving me insane. So I've been like, maybe this is the universe's way of telling me that I've got up my game on mindset today, because I have had a really hard day with the kids, and I, you know, I do feel a little bit under the weather, and I was like, yeah, like I'm gonna listen to the universe. It has my back. And I just spent like quite a lot of today listening to podcasts, you know, like where I'm actually listening, and I'm sat down like cleaning, whereas if I'm listening on my phone doing work, I'm kind of getting sidetracked. Or I actually sat down for a second time today and read some of my book, which I never normally do, you know. So really focus on what do you need to do that day. And I'm not saying, you know, have a day where you don't do any business stuff and you totally do mindset stuff, but I would say do your mindset stuff every day. And to be honest with you, I would say to people, and there'll be some people in this industry that will disagree with me, but I would say if you've like messaged 50 people on Instagram in that day, and you've done your DMO and you've got an hour left of your day, some people might say to you, go and do 50 more Instagram messages. I will say to you, have you done your mindset stuff today? And if you say no, go and spend an hour doing it. Because when you get someone message you, say like, I'm not joining that pyramid scheme, if you haven't worked on yourself, that will rile you up. You will get so annoyed, because I've been there, and I've had arguments with these people. I don't even know them. What am I doing? Why am I wasting my time? Because I'm not strong enough to be like, oh, like whatever, like I don't even care. So really make sure you're working on yourself. And I always say this, but look at it like every day you're going into battle with the world, because we kind of are, even with not in this industry, you know, every day's bloody hard work, whatever you're doing, particularly in this business. And if you go into battle without your armor on, you are not going to stand a chance. And that's how I look at it, you know, every day. If I want to go out to battle, very dramatic, and I want to go out there and, you know, face the world, I got to get my armor on, you know. Like for me, days where I'm working, like I had this in the staff room at school. I won't go on for much longer, so I know the time. In school the other day, and someone started going on about cults. I was like, here we go, and they were talking about like all these pyramid schemes. Like I don't even know whether they know what I do. And I was sat there, and I was really proud of myself. So I was like, do you know what, like at one point my blood would be boiling right now, and I would be like, I'm going to start a fight. I'm going to start a fight with someone. I'm going to tell them. And I just sat there, and I actually just felt really sorry for them, because I was like, oh God, like they're so close-minded, and they probably just don't spend any time on their mindset. And I was like, what a shit place to be in. Like, excuse my language. I was like, I'm so glad I am not there, you know. And that's the thing, like you're going to come across people, maybe even like your family, your friends, they're going to say stuff to you. Like, honestly, like I get it all the time. And if people say something to me now, I just don't care. But you have to get to that point where you're kind of that strong enough. And it does take time. But like I said, if you work on your mindset every day and you do these tasks every day, I'm going to send a little like check-ins. We can all check in what we're doing every day. You will become a completely different person over the next 4 weeks. Like you honestly will, because you will just be so strong and so resilient, and it will just really, really help you in your business. Right, I'm going to check the chat because I'm aware of the time and I don't want to miss it. So if anyone's got any questions, just pop them in. Oh, I love that. Is that Emma Galaxy SA? Yeah, Ross's podcast is so good. It's a really good one to learn. Like if you want to learn how to boss this business, like Ross is one of the most amazing teachers. He's so good. Right, Rochelle, what do you say? I'm struggling to find a routine that works. I can't really be on my phone when I'm with Arlo. He still needs me a lot and is on the move. And I'm on point with my business. The housework suffers. Okay, so what I would say is don't be afraid to have a day where you put your, not a day, sorry, a bit of time where you put your phone in a drawer, and kind of accept with your housework, like my house looks an absolute shit show most of the time, totally honest, but I will have moments in time where I'm like, okay, and once a day I will have a tidy up, let's say, and I'll be like, right, we need to sort this situation out, and I'll go and put my phone on charge. A good way to do it, if your phone battery is running low, you probably need to put your phone on charge, because you probably need to charge yourself. Whether you need to go and do a bit of exercise, or whether you need to go and, you know, do some mindset stuff, whether you need to go and play with your kids, or whether you need to go and do your housework, look at your phone charging time like you're charging yourself up. But yeah, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Like, go back to those time management clocks, work out what your time is. With kids, you cannot really be but if you do your mindset stuff, you will find your anxiety will absolutely, like, won't be as bad. It honestly won't. Like, really focus on your mindset stuff. And you know, I know with kids it doesn't always work out you can't do things at set times, but kind of look at it as, you know, when you have 20 minutes where, and I will put the telly on for mine, I'm not gonna lie, when you put the telly on for them, or they're eating and they're kind of having a bit on their own, or they're going to sleep or whatever, just know what it is you're doing for your business at that point. And I would say get your stories and your posts pre-planned, so you're not even worrying about them, and just think, like, in the day when you've got like the housework or the kids, or even if you're at work, just think like your posts and stories are kind of sorted because you spent half an hour last night doing them. And then the only thing you really have to focus on is maybe your messaging throughout the day and just popping the posts and stories up. And I think, like, it actually makes it a lot more manageable. And I notice when I do it, it tends to be for work and not when I'm at home with the kids. And my days when I'm at work, I am like chilled out as a cucumber. I love it. I'm like, this is so easy, because the kids stress me out, because I'm more organized when I'm working. And I do think, like, oh my god, Elle, you need to be, this is my downfall, like, I need to be more organized when I'm not at work, because I definitely notice the difference. My friend at work told me part of a cult. She's now put it as just, oh, I love that, Jenna. Like, that, it's just crazy, isn't it? And do you know what, like, and this is so true, I'm just going to close the chat so I can see you. Oh my god, sorry, my phone is having a mess. This is so true, but people actually don't pick on you when they see that you're like 100% strong. And I get this all the time now. Like, I used to get a lot of like stuff from people on my social media, like giving me, you know, shit for stuff, like, oh, I can't be doing this. Now, like, I actually think anybody on there who was questioning me before probably now is like, bloody hell, like, she knows what she wants, she is on one, I am leaving her alone. Because they know that whatever they say to me, I literally don't care. Like, they're wasting their time. And that's the thing, like, you know, people like at work, like Jenna's just said, they probably will take the mick out of you to start with. People at my work, you know, who know what I do, initially they took the mick out of it. Now they absolutely love it. And even if they still doubted it, they would not have the balls to say anything to me, because they would actually feel stupid, because I am so set on my mindset. And, you know, and I have proved them wrong, and it does feel good. And that's what I would say as well, you know, if you ever have a moment when you're struggling with your mindset and you've got people like giving you shit for it, just think, how insane is it going to feel when you are one day an NMD, a PMD on stage being recognised for your promotion, and they're still in that job they hate? You're going to feel on top of the world, and it will feel amazing. And that drives me all the time. Right, I'm just going to check it quickly. I think one more person put something in about posts. Yeah, so what I would say is, you used to be able to get apps that schedule posts. You can't do it anymore unless it's a business page, and I don't do that. Just do your personal page. But I literally go into my notes on my phone, and I do it. So, like, I will put Tuesday, and I will put, like, it sounds really OCD, all my posts, like my pictures, like my quote, my product post. I sometimes take it the day before, not always, but I'll do my writing. So, you know, I'll know, for example, tomorrow I'm going to post about the bars tomorrow, and I know that in my head already, and I'll have that in my notes. And then for stories as well, obviously you can have an album on your phone for stories, and I would say really do that and make them personal to you. But then obviously here and there, which is easy to do, just pick your phone up and just do like little videos, obviously, to go on your stories as well. But most of my stories about the products and the business, unless I'm talking or dancing around like a loony bin. If you see any slides on mine that are about the products and the business and they look like I've spent loads of time, I've probably just sat down in an evening and done like loads of them and then saved them. So I'd recommend doing that as well because it really helps. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because I could just like talk to you all for ages, but I hope that was useful. I'm going to send over in our group now after this call, like just kind of summarising that on a few points. And I think it'd be really nice if like this week, every day we just check in. I'm going to like send pictures or anything, but just check in the group and be like, right, have we all done our mindset stuff? And you know, if you haven't, and we'll try and check in at like, I don't know, 8 p.m. or whatever, if you haven't done something, like just spend that half an hour doing it, you know, because you will feel so much better. And I really want to make this group like an accountability group where, you know, we're kind of all getting on the calls if we can get on each night. Obviously, you know, if you're working or whatever, I know it's hard. If you've got the kids kicking off, just put your earphones in, just get on so you can kind of keep up with it. And then we'll all kind of, you know, checking in the group. And I just think it's going to give us massive momentum and really, really help us. So I hope that